Don't try to sneak into your room like that. I know what you've got behind your back. Records. More new records.
Hi, my name is Martin Bell. I'm the founder and CEO of Java Hi-Fi. We're an amplifier manufacturer from New Zealand. Well, I think we wanted to do something different. We wanted to use some new technologies. We wanted to have some new industrial design. I came up with the name Java Hi-Fi because I am a real coffee aficionado, and of course Java is slang for coffee, and hence that has carried through to the naming of the single shot and the double shot. It was 4 letters. We were able to make a cool kind of waveform logo out of the name. And I'd like to think perhaps that I'm something like a conductor of an orchestra. I'm not necessarily the engineer or the designer, but I can work with great people in those fields to bring a product to life.
We're very, very happy to be presenting the new Sabrina V. It shows the continued evolution and refinement of the products that Wilson makes that celebrate music. And we're going to have a demonstration by Peter and Patrick about the technology and all that, and the music, of course. And we all know that these music systems can bring something to life that is enthralling. And you have these millions and millions and millions of recordings that happened before this moment. And they're all available through streaming, and of course, if you love something, you should buy it. And what this is all about is deciding that you want to spend some time in the 32-hour days that we live in, that we only have 24 hours of time in, to take some of that frenetic stuff, which is great stuff, not bad stuff, but it's in carving out some time like you would buy a ticket to go to a show or a concert. And while you're there, you're not doing something else. You're just taking it in and you're responding to it. And you're just there. And the goal of every music system to me is to give you enough cues about what happened wherever and wherever and whenever it happened, that you feel you get this as-is moment, that you're just there. You don't think about terms like imaging. Imaging means you're trying to identify, well, the piano player was there, and the drummer was there, and the singer was here, and the guitar player was over there. In real life, you never think about that. It's just the way it is, right? And you're not thinking about where you are because you're there and you're experiencing it. So if you can let go, the machine is supposed to give you enough information to reach this moment of just knowing what's going on and not working at it. And people have the capacity for visualization. When you read, you're visualizing and hearing voices while you're looking at black and white blotches on a piece of paper, right? The letters, the numbers, the punctuation marks, and yet you're hearing Harry Potter speak and Hagrid the Giant speak and whatever, and yet you're actively looking at ink blots. With music, it happened. It happened in a real place by people doing something, and we're just trying to get the information that was captured, and you'll hear some amazing recordings that Peter is going to present that just let you feel like you're there and you're just responding to it, and you would have whatever emotional reaction you would have, whatever intellectual reaction you'd have. Maybe you'd want to dance to it. Whatever you do when you respond to things can just happen very organically. So that's what all these machines are for. Let me tell you what it is. Normally, we've done most of the presentations in the other room where we have the biggest badass system that you could possibly imagine, and it's great. We wanted to present these in a realistic way. What could somebody buy? Maybe the maximum of what you'd get, and you don't have to spend what these things are to get a great result from these speakers. The speakers are $28,000 a pair. This is a new D'Agostino pendulum integrated amplifier, which is $18,000. It has the same preamp aspect to it that the Relentless does and the Momentum does. They've trickled that down. And trickle down is a lot of what happens with Wilson. Although I don't want to say trickle-down economics, I don't believe in that. And then we're using the Bartok Apex DCS. So these things are all, a little above 20,000, a little below 20,000. The wires are not the best wires that Transparent makes, they're very good ones. And we're going to get a result that will be astounding when you start hearing, and I stop talking. But we wanted to show a balanced system, and people would accuse these of being New York friendly, but Michael has a pair of the biggest ones in a room that's half the size of this, and it all works. So the size of the room isn't so much, it's whether you have this visual aesthetic that you respond to. So when people say, and there are two spouses in this room who don't mind what things look like, but many people do. I won't point you out. And so in that sense, maybe the size of it is not imposing or something, but the sound we're going to hear belies the size and the cost of these speakers by an amazing degree. So, Peter, please make a presentation. Patrick, thank you.
Thank you, Elliott. I'm Peter McGrath. I'm from Wilson Audio. I see a few familiar faces, and I've been doing these events with Elliott for decades now. And this is one of the highlights of what I am privileged to do for Wilson Audio. And I do have to say that Innovative Audio is one of the best stores in the world. And I'm very privileged to be working here with the team, and I've come to know and love these people as family. So I'm a little bit biased, but nonetheless, they are what I just said. I'm here to introduce the speaker, but I also want to introduce a new colleague of mine to Wilson Audio, and he's in the back of the room. Patrick, can you come up?
Sure.
His name is Patrick Butler. He just joined Wilson Audio, and we will be working together along with other members of our staff, and I'm just privileged to have Patrick. He's been involved in the audio industry for a couple of decades as well.
Couple of years.
Couple of years. Great. So this a couple of decades.
I'm a lifer.
He was a child when I first met him.
I was.
Yeah.
He was.
Anyway, so I'm going to be the DJ de jour, meaning that I'm going to play the music. But I'd like Patrick to take a few moments to go into some of the technical aspects of the loudspeaker and what differentiates it from the Wilson model that it effectively replaces.
So Sabrina V replaces Sabrina X. Why do you replace a loudspeaker? Why do you upgrade a speaker? For Darrell Wilson, it's not because you've got a single innovation. It's because your research and development team has been working around the clock, as they do, inventing new mousetraps all the time. It could be a new material for the cabinet, it could be a new capacitor, it could be a new driver, it could be a new insight for how to get rid of noise somewhere else in the cabinet that result ultimately in a more musical experience. So in the case of the Sabrina V, it is almost the exact same dimensions as Sabrina X. It's about an inch taller, a little skosh deeper, so it's very room friendly, available in all the same paint finishes as all the rest of the Wilson products. What we did to improve performance are a couple of things. Let's just start with the cabinet itself. It's made of the same X material that we use in all of our products. It's a very inert material, very heavy material. You want a friend to help you move these, or preferably paid labor. We have upgraded the entire front baffle with a brand new material, which is called H material. Much like the rest of the materials used in the products, they're composites. This is a phenolic resin in English. It's just a little bit softer, a little bit more yielding than X material, which makes it an ideal surface to mount a driver to. So you've got kind of the quietness of the front of the speaker, so you can really hear just the sound of the drivers themselves and not the sound of the cabinet, which is what you want. We're using our Convergent Synergy carbon tweeter, which you find from our upper end models, which we were not in the Sabrina X. So it's a considerably more open sounding tweeter because there is a 3D printed carbon fiber rear wave, if you will, can that fits on the back of the tweeter.
I have to go to the
sure that all you're hearing is what comes off the front of it and none of the reflections that turn outside the cabinet. We're using a new mid-range driver, which comes from the rest of the products in the lineup, which is an Alnico, 7-inch Alnico mid-range driver. Very open, sweet, resolved sounding. We're using also an 8-inch bass driver that you'll find in the Watt Puppy, I believe. Is that true, Peter?
Yes.
Yes, excellent. We're using a brand new copper capacitor. We actually bought a capacitor winding company years ago called Railcap. We do lots of experiments with capacitors to try to make sure we can get the sound of all these vested and very necessary parts out of the way. So it's a brand new copper capacitor only found in this model. We're using the resistive networks that you'll find in models like the Watt Puppy and the Alex and the Alexia on the back here, so you actually can see that back panel just like on those models as well, which is great because you have all the beautiful properties of those resistors. Also, if you need to do any maintenance, they're very easy to access in the future. We've got a brand new footing system on the bottom of the speaker for our spike and our coupler, which makes them very easy to adjust. That also makes sure that this interface between the speaker cabinet and the floor is very quiet. So precise and quiet. Once again, you always want everything to be quiet except for the noisemakers, which are going to be the drivers themselves. Same quantity.
And that's where the V material is on the bottom.
Yes, which is built in, exactly, into these guys. Anything else you'd like to add?
That's it.
No, perfect. Great, let's listen to some music.
Some of the rules of the game, I'm going to try and not talk too much. I'll let the music do that. But the goal is I'm not going to play a full track of anything. I'm just going to, this is hors d'oeuvres. And just about when you develop the taste for that hors d'oeuvre, we move on to another one. Okay. But this is where we cover a wide musical range of things. As I've said before at these types of events, I don't really play a lot of so-called audiophile standards. And in fact, I'll play very little that overlap from any other event, and I have no idea what I'm going to play until I play it. But one comment I do have to make is that we're living in this golden age of musical streaming, and access to music is unprecedented. Even though we have our CDs, we have our LPs, we have our tapes if we're so luxurious as to have those machines, what we have certainly no shortage of is great music being released all the time. And I just can't emphasize how important that is to the music lover of our time. Speaking of which, I'm going to play a recording that I just found very recently. I was in Thailand and my distributor there played it and I kind of fell in love with it. And despite the size of the speaker, I think you'll be impressed by what comes out of it, particularly in the low range, and also the atmospheric bloom that surrounds the sound.